You were born on a battlefield. Now, see where this long war began and where it ends. Israel. Join Derek and Sharon Gilbert and special guest Carl Teichrieb in the Holy Land this October, where you'll see things like this.
Rome finally did overrun the palace. This palace sits way up on the top of a bluff, and you can get up there by two ways today. You don't have to use a siege ramp. You don't have to build anything. Mind you, building a siege ramp, building anything out there meant you had to import your raw materials.
Right.
Try to find a tree out there.
Bigger than an acacia. Yeah, not too many.
But yes, it's you can get up there by going up what they call the snake path.
The snake path.
Or you can go up in a gondola, and that's what we did.
Yeah, we'll take the tram, thank you.
Yeah.
So we toured Masada. This was another day when it was really hot, well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and I faded before the end. So I'm glad that you and Taylor were there with the video cameras to catch the echo.
We'll scream one word at a time in Hebrew, okay? Of those words, Shenit Masada Lo Tipol, 4 words, one word at a time upon my signal. After you scream to the top of your lungs, be totally quiet and listen how this mountain answers, okay? Are you ready? So the first word is Shenit, okay? 1, 2, 3. Shenit! Masada. 1, 2, 3. Masada! Whoa. Third, Lo. 1, 2, 3. Lo! Wow. Fourth, Tipol. Tipol. 1, 2, 3. Tipol! Whoa.
Yeshua! Mashiach!
That was incredible. I'm so glad I was able to go on that final leg of the journey. You wander around Masada, you see the various, he had 3 palaces up there?
Right, because when you're Herod the Great, if you're Herod the average, then you could make do with one. But Herod the Great, now he needs 3.
But he also had to bring up all the supplies that he kept up there. There were water cisterns and places to store all sorts of olive oil and various things you would need to live for months and months.
During a siege.
Exactly, which is what happened.
Which again, given the political situation in the 1st century BC, give or take 50 years with the Parthians and the Romans and even the Armenians at one point fighting for control over the Holy Land, you never knew when you were going to need your last redoubt.
Now, it was not King Herod who was besieged by the Romans.
No.
It was a group of individuals who fled Jerusalem when it was invaded by the Romans.
Right. And they held out for 3 years, which drove the Romans nuts. The fall of Masada was epic in the national history of Israel, just like in the national history of the United States. Things like the Alamo or the flyers at Midway. Gallipoli for Australians. Yes, that's an excellent point. the song Men of Harlech for my Welsh ancestors.
Yes, yes.
Those things are important. And to this day, trainees in the IDF will still make that kind of a pilgrimage, as I understand it.
They do.
Join Derek and Sharon Gilbert and special guest researcher, author, and lecturer Carl Teichrieb in Israel October 19th through 30th, 2025. This is not the typical tour of Israel. For information and to reserve your place on the 2025 Gilbert House Tour of Israel, please log on to gilberthouse.org/travel. That's gilberthouse.org/travel.